On-path attacks, also known as man-in-the-middle attacks, come in many different forms. You have on-path attacks that spoof ARP or that spoof the DNS, just to name a few. In this demo, we're going to illustrate how to place yourself in between a victim and the default gateway to capture traffic. We'll use ettercap to spoof the default gateway when a victim machine tries to get an IP address from a DHCP server. The first thing I'm going to do is scan my subnet to see which hosts are connected and identify my router. I'm going to do that by using a program called Zenmap. Zenmap is basically just a GUI version of the command line tool Nmap. If I come up to Applications, down to Information Gathering, and then come to the bottom over here, I see Zenmap. I'll go ahead and open it up. What I want to do here is scan the subnet. I happen to know the address, so I'll type it in 10.10.10.0/24, with the 24 representing the subnet mask. I don't want to do an intent scan. With Zenmap, you can run some predetermined scans. I'll pick Quick Scan for this. Something cool about Zenmap is that it enters in the command over here. This is the command that you would use if you were using Nmap in the terminal. Now I'll come over here and click on Scan. Alright, Zenmap went out, scanned my subnet, and finished up. I see my different machines down here in this pane. I see the computer names, the domain it belongs to, and the IP address for each machine. What I really need to know is the router IP and the victim machine's IP. Up here, I see that this one is actually named router, and the IP address is 10.10.10.1. That one was pretty easy. For the victim machine, I'm interested in this one, which is PC12, with the IP address ending in 196. This is the machine that we're going after. Finally, the machine I'm using to do the attacking with is this one, with the IP ending in 197. We need to remember all these IPs for later. This one that ends with the number 1, the one ending in 196, and the one we just looked at. Okay, we're done with Zenmap, so I'll close it. Now, we're ready to start spoofing. I'll do that with ettercap. I'll come up to Applications and go down to Sniffing and Spoofing, and then over here to ettercap. After ettercap opens, I'll go up to the Sniff tab and select Unified Sniffing. I'll leave the network interface as ETH0 and click OK. Now I'll go up to MITM, which stands for Man in the Middle, and select DHCP spoofing from the list. When the dialog box opens, I'll just leave the IP pool empty. You can see it says optional here. If I wanted, I could put in my own range of IPs that I would want my victim to grab. But we don't have to do that. I'll put in the net mask for the subnet, and that's 255.255.255.0. Now, I'll put in the DNS server info. In my case here, it's the same as the default gateway, which is 10.10.10.1. This is what the DHCP server is giving out. It'll be a point of interest as we proceed. Click OK. Down here, it says the DHCP spoofing is running. Alright, now let's go over a Windows 10 machine. This is the victim machine. I'm going to open up an elevated command prompt here. I'll say yes to the user access control. I'll do a quick IP config. I can confirm that I'm on the right machine because we have the IP ending in 196. But check out the default gateway. It's 10.10.10.1. If I come down here and do ipconfig/release, and then ipconfig/renew, we now have a new default gateway, which is 10.10.10.197. What's happened here is the Kali Linux machine with the Kali Linux on it has become a man in the middle, and all my traffic is going through there before going out to the internet. We have an on-path attack going on. Let's open a website here and enter in some credentials. These aren't the real credentials for this site, but it doesn't matter. I just want to see if I'm capturing traffic and data. Alright, now let's jump back over to the Kali Linux system and see what's happening with ettercap. Okay, I'm back to my Kali Linux system. If you look down here, you can see that ettercap captured the username and password that I entered on the WordPress site from the victim Windows 10 machine. Let's look at one more thing before we move on. I'm going to open Wireshark and see if there's any way we can figure out that our DHCP is being spoofed on our network. I'm sure there are all sorts of ways to figure this out, and Wireshark is just one of them. I'll go up to Applications, go down to Spoofing and Sniffing, and then over to Open Wireshark. I can see that ETH0 is right here, so I'll go up and click the shark fin to start capturing data. Now we're going to jump back over to the victim Windows 10 machine for a minute. Let's create some DHCP traffic to look at on Wireshark. I'll come down here and type CMD. Right-click and click Run as Administrator. I'll say yes to the UAC and type in ipconfig/release and ipconfig/renew. Once again, I have the gateway ending in 197. Let's go back to Kali Linux. Alright, I'm back on the Kali Linux machine. There's a bunch of stuff being captured. I'm only interested in the DHCP traffic, so I'm going to use a filter. Type in bootp up here and press enter. That narrowed things down. I'm interested in this one right here. It's a DHCP acknowledgement, and I have my source IP. This was captured from when we just obtained a new IP from the victim machine. I have it highlighted, and I'll move down here. Let me expand this out a bit. I'm going to come down here. You can see where it says option 3 router. I'll expand this out, and you can see that the router IP is 10.10.10.197, which is the spoofed IP address, which is the IP of the Kali Linux machine. So if I'm the system or security administrator for this network, I know there's something going on, and that's that this IP ending in 197 is replacing my real gateway or router of 10.10.10.1. It's not necessarily easy to detect, but with the right tools, it's possible. That's it for this demo. In this demo, we used ettercap to create an on-path, or man-in-the-middle attack, by spoofing the default gateway when systems obtained their IP address information from the DHCP server. Then we confirmed that the victim's gateway was spoofed, verified it with Wireshark, and verified that the default gateway was indeed changed during the DHCP process.